the more I think of things, the worse it gets? Or am I just learning more about the Patriots staff and it is what it is, which is a long way of saying the more I hear about the Patriots staff, the less I like it.
Yeah.
Is that just me?
No.
Is that a me problem or is that?
No, I'm that way with everything.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. Then this is less of a story.
Well,
if it's just me being me.
I see what you're saying.
If it's just me being me, then I could say that about a tuna fish sandwich. I want to know if the things that are revealing themselves should make me feel worse, or I just feel worse because I feel worse.
Well, so first of all, the answer
Have
is...
I confused you?
No, you haven't confused me. I understand what you're asking. And the fact is that it depends on specifically what you're asking.
Is it me or is it them?
Okay. Has your initial reaction changed?
The more I hear about the staff, I don't like it.
Okay. But again, forget the more... When you first heard it, what was your reaction?
You liked the Marone thing initially.
Yep. I liked the Marone thing initially.
Okay, so do I.
And I've always liked Josh McDaniels, so what's the problem?
Well, because it feels forced. I mean, the terminology there that Greg just used, that this still has the whiff of kind of a forced marriage. I'm paraphrasing, but that's how it has felt. Like, I mean, it was Mike Reese and others that we've just asked that basic question. If Mike Vrabel got hired somewhere else, Chicago, New Orleans, the Jets, is Josh McDaniels his offensive coordinator? No.
And let me take it one step further. If Josh McDaniels gets hired in Chicago to be the offensive coordinator, is Doug Marrone his first choice to be the offensive line coach?
No, definitely not.
So the more we piece this together, it's like these guys are all kind of adjacent, meaning McDaniels was an offensive coach here when Vrabel was a linebacker. But they never really worked together as coaches. They're just kind of adjacent, but they're not directly connected. Doug Marrone is a good friend of Bill O'Brien, who's tight with Vrabel. So there's kind of an adjacency there. But even though Doug Marrone was a big Bill O'Brien guy, he's not a Josh McDaniels guy.
Correct.
And you would say Josh McDaniels and Bill O'Brien are kind of connected, but are they? They're not.
Well, to put it another way,
They're both, just let me finish quickly, they're both Patriots offensive coordinators.
Right. One replaced the other.
But they didn't work together.
Right.
So you would think that, like, O'Brien and McDaniels are the same family, but they're not.
No.
So, okay, Marrone's an O'Brien guy, which you would think is a McDaniels guy, but he's not. And then I'm thinking, like, well, there's only one common... All those guys, they're not linked together, but they're all linked to one central thing, which is what?
the Crafts.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mazz will follow me, and by the end of the day, you'll be following
No,
me.
no,
this is
I
the
got
Crafts.
you.
Yeah.
The Crafts, like this circa.
Well, how's Marrone linked to the
O'Brien,
Crafts?
Marrone, right? How is he? Fair point, Mazz. How is he?
O'Brien.
Through O'Brien. But it's
Well,
like,
right.
They brought him back as the OC just a couple of years ago. So let me just simplify. To me, where's there been more continuity with these hires? What side of the ball? Defense. Those are Vrabel hires, guys he worked with in Tennessee. That feels like more his thing. The offense? It's a hodgepodge of, well, we kind of know him, and he was worked adjacently before, and we liked him in the past. Like, he's kind of a name, and he's better than what we had last year. It's all spackled together on the offense, whereas there's more continuity, and it's Vrabel's thing defensively.
Mazz, you're right. There's no direct connection to Marrone and the Crafts.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is this, and Murray's point is right, that the offense is more slapped together. I think Marrone is a Vrabel hire because O'Brien said to him, you should hire Marrone, and I understand the link there. But I don't think the Crafts had any doing with that. I had concerns about McDaniels from the very beginning. So from that standpoint, my opinion has not changed. But do I now feel that, like, Vrabel has his guys working under McDaniels? Yes. And so should that worry you? Of course. They've never worked together.
Who put together the offensive staff?
Kraft.
Jonathan Kraft.
Well, the big piece is Kraft.
Jonathan Kraft.
Yeah, I mean, Marrone, I think, is Vrabel's hire.
Yeah.
It's not McDaniels' hire.
It's that's the connection. I mean, that's true, right? So it should be Vrabel's hire, I guess. I have a question, too, on Marrone. He got fired in New Orleans the year before last, right?
Yes.
So he spent last year as a consultant at Boston College.
Right.
Right.
Consultant. when someone takes a consultant title, what's that a tip-off?
Being paid by another team.
Okay, I don't know if that translates exactly from the pros to college, but, I don't know. You have to ask it with the Patriots.
Sure.
And Marone hasn't been officially announced yet. What's his title? And,
there's no official title yet. It's just assumed he's going to work with the offensive line.
He got fired in New Orleans. Does he still have term in New Orleans? It's always, I think it's a fair thing to ask with this Patriots team. McDaniels still has term with the Raiders.
Good one.
Does Marone have term with New Orleans?
Good one.
So, I don't feel good about the process, the hiring, the people in charge of the hiring, the decision making, the motivations behind the hires. The offense is way more important than the defense. I don't care about the defense unless they suck, and then okay, I'll take a look at DeMarcus Covington, or I'll take a look at, I even forgot the name of the guy they just hired. I'll take a look at Vrabel, as Greg just said there. Vrabel's going to call the plays. Okay, it's kind of like defense. It's important, I know it, but you're going to have to do that on your own time. And when it sucks, that's when I'll dig in. Okay, so Vrabel's going to call his own plays. He's going to be the de facto defensive coordinator. Good. That's like an upgrade from Mayo, who couldn't even do that. Fine. Okay. It's really this is their 5th offensive coordinator in 5 years. And they haven't had a consistent offensive staff in a half decade. This is the important side. This is the one we're focused on. Why are they here? Who's here? Who put it together? And I don't feel any better about any of that stuff. The more I look at it. But maybe that's just a me thing. 617-779-0985. We talked more about this with Greg yesterday. Number 4, if we could, Jimmy, please.
The whole thing we bitched about last year was that Bill O'Brien didn't get to name his offensive line coach and his staff.
Right.
Now they're doing the same thing.
Your head coach didn't name the offensive coordinator, and the offensive coordinator didn't name his offensive line coach. Here, just stop for a second.
Now they're doing...
And it is true. We're almost bitching about the exact same thing the second straight day.
Yeah.
But,
Well, this is what we do.
This is it. Exactly. And then we'll do it again at 5 o'clock just to reset it. But this is the same. This was actually yesterday, although you wouldn't know it. I'm sorry. Proceed.
Now they're doing the same thing.
Your head coach didn't name the offensive coordinator, and the offensive coordinator didn't name his offensive line coach.
And now they're doing the same thing.
Because why? Familiarity? Cost?
I wonder.
Whatever.
I wonder a little bit if Marone was sort of a consensus pick. Maybe McDaniels would I'd really like this guy. Vrabel's I'd really like to go in this direction. And, maybe Marone was somewhat in the middle because McDaniels has some familiarity with him through Bill O'Brien. And, Marone has a good reputation around the league, a former, head coach.
So good that he has no job. He had to consult at Boston College. The reputation is so high that he had to go back to the ACC to be a consultant.
It does feel like, given the background of some of these guys, because of course the Tennessee guys, Vrabel preferred West Coast zone blocking. McDaniels is a mix, but a lot more power, a lot more gap. And Thomas Brown came from the Rams. It just it seems like it's much more of a hodgepodge on the offensive side of the ball. If Josh is totally running things, then I feel a little bit better about that. But you just compare that to the defensive side where it's all Vrabel people, all things. They have it buttoned up. This is what we're going to do. The offensive side is just kind of I'm not really sure.
Yeah, no, they gave the again, yesterday might as well be today, might as well be tomorrow. But Greg,
it's an epiphany.
Greg started the whole thing by saying, I'd love to push back on you guys, but I don't know if I can. And so that's sort of where they are. I don't, and the more I guess, shame on me, I guess. But I didn't know exactly where Doug Marone was at this stage of his career. I say shame on me, but not really. I'm not going to track Doug effing Marone. But, I thought he was still in the league. Mm-hmm. I thought he was still a relevant offensive coach, failed head coach, but not the worst thing you ever saw. Wasn't he the coach of that Jacksonville team?
Yeah.
I mean, so
Tom Coughlin really ran it, but yeah.
Well, either way,
that's my opinion. Yeah,
not the worst head coach we've ever seen.
That's right.
Okay, certainly there's been worse. and still in the league, an established offensive line coach. Like, that's what I thought. I wasn't really aware of the fact that he had been fired in New Orleans, that they were done with him, and did not do a good job there, or whatever. Got himself fired from that job, and then wasn't even in the league last year because no one else wanted him. And then went to Boston College because he's still getting paid by New Orleans, or what? I don't know. He feels like he's another floater. So I just didn't realize that.
The Marone thing is a good point because, and look, I'm intrigued now too, because if he's not being paid, if he's being paid by the Saints still. And
again, I have no idea. I'm just raising it because you have to raise it with the Patriots.
Yeah, but it's a fair question to ask, is my point. If he's still being paid by the Saints, it changes your whole perspective on it. It's an important detail. Now, I also think what Bedard said is an important detail, that last year, or 2 years ago, we were bitching about the fact that Bill O'Brien didn't get to pick his offensive line coach. Well, they just did the same thing. Like, that didn't even occur to me until Bedard said it yesterday. So, like, I do look at that and go, well, so what's that about? Everybody sort of getting their foothold on the staff? If he's Vrabel's guy, again, two of the guys Vrabel's hired have both been offensive coordinators. So, you know what? He's building some sort of contingency plan if McDaniels doesn't work out. Like, what's going on there?
And how do we feel about those contingency plans? So, wait, if McDaniels doesn't work out, Doug Marone's the offensive coordinator?
Or the other guy?
Thomas Brown in Chicago, who I've got a little more, hope for ceiling. I don't even know Thomas Brown, but younger guy, just coming his way up, working his way up, I would assume has ceiling. Doug Marone? Do I want Doug Marone, designing my offense?
No, my guess is that he's stuck on the offensive line, but I don't know, in a pinch. Who knows? So my guess is it would be Brown.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.